What's up guys, I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're Drivin and Vibin.
Today we are jumping back into the Thursday Q&A video. This one is all about the Airstream renovation, from the budget to our state of mind, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are so excited to get back into these Q&As. We had to take a little break for a little while we had the Mortons here, and we were getting so much work done, and really in the past month we have completely built out the interior of this Airstream.
We're definitely on the home stretch, so we are excited for another few more months of projects and then moving into this thing full time. We'll go ahead and hop into these questions. The first ones come from our Instagram page, so if you're not already a fan of that, go ahead and follow us on Instagram. Michelle has the first question asking, what is the anticipated weight of the Argosy when finished?
So we are aiming for it to be around 5,000 pounds. That's kind of the max load that it can be.
Next up is Andrew over on Facebook, and he says, are you sticking to your budget, below budget? Would you do it all again? I don't think we ever really created a solid budget outline. No. We had a rough idea, but our main budget was spend as little as possible. Yeah,
so basically we were making lots of choices and decisions that would keep our costs down, but we knew this was going to be over the course of a year, so that we knew it wasn't going to be a lot of expenses right up front. Definitely here in the end this last month we felt those kind of prices go up a little bit. We were having to make runs to Home Depot 1 to 3 times a day sometimes, and we'd be spending $100 each time we went. We're like, man, this money's just flying right now. But
that would be for things like hardware, for things simple as screws, for wood, so for so many odds and ends that just added up time and time again.
Yes.
I mean, off the top of my head, I would think it just a pure guess would be around $7,000.
That is definitely helped out by our different sponsorships we've had on board with us. That's helped out tremendously. So we're super excited to be able to try out and test out some of these products and give you guys like our feedback on how we really enjoy them.
And as far as would we do it again, I would say no. I would not want to do this again. I wouldn't take back the time that we invested. I wouldn't change what we've done, but no, it's not a project that I want to go into again.
I think it was definitely worth it, but it's a one-time experience for us.
Next up is Joe, and he says, are you tracking the actual hours that we worked on it? No, we don't want to know, honestly. At least I don't want to know.
No, I mean, in the beginning it was a lot of kind of sit around and wait things when we were waiting on things with the frame to get finished and waiting on parts to come in. In this past couple months, it's just been we wake up and immediately start working, and we stop working when it's dark outside. Sometimes we work into the dark quite a bit, but we're usually like, I'm starving and my body hurts. Maybe we should call it a day, guys.
Next up is Ben, and he says, how is the truck search coming?
So the truck search has kind of been on pause until the new year. We get our taxes filed and we have a good kind of total overview of our income to take when we go to get our loan. That search will start up probably at the end of January or beginning of February.
Anthony says, what was your favorite task during the renovation? If we're just talking about specific tasks, my favorite one is riveting. I think that's an easy task that I get to see an accomplishment when I'm done with it.
Maybe like building out the bed frame or framing up different areas in here. I've never really worked with wood before. I've never built anything before. So it was really fun to learn and see like my finished product at the end of the day. So it was kind of like empowering and exciting for me to know that like, hey, in the future, if like I need something built, I can totally do that.
Next up is Suzanne, and she says, are you going to have a christening party on your launch date?
I don't know. I'm sure we'll have some sort of like farewell thing with our family. We've actually kind of already christened the Argosy as we had dinner and wine with the Mortons one night in the Argosy, and we're playing with our new lights. When the lights went out, elbow knocked over wine, and so like our plywood platform for our bed frame like is covered in red wine. So that's a funny little memory, little mark we left on the Argosy.
Kids, cover your ears!
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Next up is Mary, and she says, is it possible, or how will you insure it so to cover the cost that it really took to create it? I don't know. I was thinking about this the past few weeks about getting a quote to insure it, because I would hate to put in all this work and not have anything covering it when it's done. But at the same time, you know, we did this all on a budget, so we're not going to try to spend an outrageous amount of monthly money to insure something. So I would like to find out a cost-effective option. John Hess says, what will the tank sizes be?
So off the top of my head, I don't remember exactly. I think the fresh tank is around 21 gallons or 25?
I think it's like 25, yeah.
25 gallons, and then the gray is about 21. We considered adding a second gray tank, but the one that fit the dimensions never came back in stock on Vintage Trailer Supply, I think it was. And to get one that fits the custom width and depth we needed, we would have to get a custom one built, and it would just have been a fortune. So maybe later on it's a possibility of adding another gray tank, but right now we're just going with what we got, and we're happy with it. It's already an upgrade from the AIRSTREAM. And because we have a composting toilet, we will be using less water as well.
Robert Markham says, which part of the renovation ended up being harder than expected? Man, that's a tough one, because most of the projects were actually easier than expected because they seemed so daunting that it must be a simple project that turned out harder than expected. And I guess when we were working on the foam board insulation, I thought that was going to be easy, but it was hellacious.
Yeah, that was a pain in the butt. It definitely would have been easier to do the rock wool everywhere instead of the foam board. But from our research, it seemed like a good idea, and I think we will be very happy with it, but it was a pain to work with the curves with it. And just to save time and energy and our sanity, I think next time, if there was a next time, yes, we would have just go ahead and do rock wool the whole way to make it easier on ourselves.
Joan says, what part of the project did you enjoy the most? For me, it was putting the shell back on the frame. That was honestly where I felt actual joy in this process.
Mine was putting the walls up and starting to build out the interior. This is my favorite part of the project right now that we've been working on, and seeing kind of that original SketchUp design come to life. So it's very, very exciting for me to see it all come together. Specifically,
I think the very beginning of this process too, where everything took form. Once everything took form, we get back into the guts of it now. And the guts aren't necessarily as fun, but the form is great to see.
Yes, definitely. And I loved seeing this countertop and sink and stove get finished. Like, that to me was so huge, and it just was like, okay, it's starting to feel more like a home now.
Next up is Valerie, and she says, wondering about keeping all those solar panels clean. Do we plan to travel with a ladder and clean them frequently? And also asking us about why we chose a residential fridge.
So I think we'll pick up one of those telescoping ladders eventually, just so we can clean them. We can also stand on the truck bed. I don't know if our new truck is going to have a truck bed cover or not, but yeah, probably. And so that's kind of an option too. We can pull up next to, we've done that with the AIRSTREAM before, and stand on that and clean. But a ladder would probably help us get better reach and just be easier all around.
As far as the residential fridge goes, because our fridge is still just one step above a dorm style fridge as far as the size goes.
Yeah, it's like 4.6 cubic feet, I think.
It really does not pull much energy. On a sunny day, just the solar panels alone would give it the energy it needs. And since we have 500 amp hours of battery, we could go almost indefinitely, I think, without having to plug into a generator or something.
And we still have the option to upgrade to a 12 volt fridge with the Danfoss compressor like we're hoping to get. In the future, we actually built the frame for the fridge big enough to accommodate the one that we kind of are dreaming of.
Next up is Susan, and she says, was the project bigger than you expected?
Not bigger than I expected, longer than I expected.
That's what she said.
I had this kind of idea when we first started that we would be done in October and like be ready to be moved in and like almost hit the road again. And I guess we're not too far off from that, but it really wouldn't be at this stage if it hadn't been for the Mortons coming down to help us for like a month and a half, because that was huge. Having 4 sets of hands working on different projects, and sometimes you need 2 people working on one.
Now we're hopping over to some more Instagram questions. This is from Selanicus, and they say, why didn't you install a Blackwater toilet for better resale years later? I don't know if this holds true anymore, that a Blackwater would give it more value, in so much that we're going for an off-grid type of rig here with solar, with a huge lithium battery bank. The composting toilet really made sense, and for someone who would potentially buy this in the future, that they would be more on that mindset.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I think a lot of rigs actually today are coming with the option to install a composting toilet when you order it from the factory. So I think it's becoming more and more of a want, because a lot of people want to go dry camping and boondocking more. Also, we're just building this rig to exactly how we want it, not necessarily how anyone else wants it. This is going to be our home and what we're going to be living in. So what we have wanted and needed over these past few years, traveling in a smaller space, this was our opportunity to create that for ourselves. So this is completely custom to our wants and needs, and I think a lot of people would appreciate some of the features as well.
Next up is Health Cerise, and they say, what product have you been happiest with? The product I've been happiest with is really a system, and that is the 500 amp hours of battleboard batteries in combination with the Victron inverter and this battery control panel up here. That whole unit has blown my mind.
In combination with our 640 watts of ZAMP solar panels. Like, that whole system, our solar array and battery bank, is I think what I'm most excited about as well. You guys know the struggle we had with our 200 watts of solar and our 200 amp hour lead acid battery that we drained way too low too many times because our little fridge was pulling too much energy. So I think we're gonna have a much better time boondocking. We're gonna feel way more comfortable. We're gonna have all of our needs met, and it's gonna be great. I'm excited.
Next up is Brown RL313. They say, so is the Argosy going to be finished in time, or are you going to be taking the FiberStream? I'm guessing they're talking about Quartzsite in this January, or the Escapers Bash, and we're definitely taking the FiberStream. It's just, this isn't at a place where we could take it right now.
No, I mean, it's very close, but our goal is to take the FiberStream on one last tour, goodbye tour for the FiberStream, and in the meantime, our really wonderful cabinet making friend David, we're gonna leave this with him, and we're hiring him to finish out some of the cabinets in here.
I can't read this whole next name because it cuts it off, but the beginning is Urban Army, and they say, how did you insulate and what methods will you use to heat the trailer? So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but we use rigid foam board in combination with rock wool to insulate it, and our main source of heat will be coming from the heat strip unit on our AC.
Yeah, so we actually familiar with the heat pump and the AC from our FiberStream. That works really well for us. I think if we want to conserve power, we could get like a little buddy heater or something when we're out boondocking, but we really didn't want to mess with a furnace, a gas furnace, and running more propane lines than necessary. That already kind of freaks us out, so we just want to run the propane straight to the oven and straight to the hot water heater.
Next up is SCLODATO 1853, and they said, why did you guys go with a compressor type refrigerator?
So really this was just the most energy efficient for our needs and our battery bank and our want to go boondocking.
And our price range. Next up we got Joe, and they said, still happy you chose an Airstream to remodel, question mark. Most definitely. I would honestly not want to be remodeling any other type of rig.
Yeah, I just don't think any other vintage rigs hold their value quite as well, or as just iconic and classic as the Airstream. Ours is a little different because it's an Argosy Airstream, which gives it a little bit of a unique factor that I really like. I like that it's painted and a little bit different than the shiny silver Airstreams and can stand apart, and we have a lot of freedom with creativity with the paint job and the outside. So yeah, I'm very happy with our choice.
Next up is Stretton1, and they say, as the reno gets closer to completion, what are your plans for your trailer, the FiberStream? Definitely selling it, and we're going to put all that information out probably at the end of January on how that process will go down.
Yeah, we need to do a few little repairs before we take it out to Arizona. We'll fix it up a little bit before we sell it, and we'll put that out to everyone when we're ready to sell.
Joe has another question. If you had 1 foot more or less in length, what would you have added or removed? Most primarily, I think if we had 1 more foot in the width, we would have had the option to do a side bathroom.
And a rear bed. That was my original plan in trying to finagle the layout and try to make it work, but we have an Argosy minuet, and the minuet means it's about 1 foot narrower than most Argosys or Airstreams, which makes it much lighter weight, and it will be easier to tow, but that did cut into our options for layouts. And so ultimately we ended up with the front bed and rear bath to open up the space more.
Great Lakes Camper says, do you need a special mattress to fit the Argosy curves? All Airstreams need some sort of special mattress, but we're thinking about just getting a foam mattress and editing that ourselves.
Yeah, so we do have a full-size mattress that was given to us by a member of the Vibe tribe that's local to the area. I'm gonna see how that fits in here. I think we kind of tested it out when we just had the subfloor in, but we didn't have the walls up or anything. But it's just a regular spring mattress. Our idea was to get like a 8 to 10 inch memory foam mattress and take like a big bread knife or electric carving knife and kind of make a template and then cut the curves ourselves. So we'll see what we end up doing.
Next up we have MTH3RD, and they asked, did you buy new holding tanks or salvage the original? And we salvaged the original due to price and availability.
Yeah, and they are just very unique sizes. They would have been very difficult to find used or to be custom made new. The fresh water tank goes under the bed and it curves to the front curve.
Last up we have Zane, and Zane asks, how much will your remodel cost when all done? I'm thinking $9,000 to $10,000 all said and done.
Yeah, I think so too.
Hopefully the unit will be worth like $40,000 to $50,000 would be nice.
That would be really, really awesome. And that's kind of on par with other full restorations I've seen of Airstreams and Argosys. I've seen numbers between 12 and 14,000. So I think we kind of came in right about there.
So thank you guys for watching today. Remember, if you have a question, we can do one of these next week as well. Just ask that question in the comment section below.
Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Later on.